Smoky Mountains National Park has been chosen as a temporary superintendent of the National Mall in D.C. Cassius Cash will serve for 120 days. During that time, the Smoky Mountains Deputy Superintendent Clayton Jordan will fill in.
All right, we're keeping a close eye on Hurricane Irma. For that, we go over to Rebecca Sweet. Good morning.
Hey there, good morning. Well, look at this. This is what 185-mile-per-hour winds sound like. You heard that roar. Hurricane Irma left a path of destruction in Puerto Rico. 900,000 people are without power. 8 have been killed, and an estimated 90% of the buildings on the island of Barbuda have been destroyed. Streets are flooded and buildings are torn apart by the wind. The Category 5 storm may now have Florida in its sights, and we're continuing to watch that. Aerials from the Tampa area last night show a packed interstate filled with people evacuating ahead of the storm's path, which is a smart thing to do as we're currently still watching Hurricane Irma. But this is just one of 3 hurricanes that we now have in the Atlantic. The last time this happened was in 2010, but we have Hurricane Katia, Hurricane Irma, as well as Hurricane Jose. The one that we're primarily watching and the one that will likely have the biggest effect on us in the United States is Hurricane Irma, still a Category 5 and still a very strong storm. So let's take a little bit of a closer look. Still, again, Category 5 winds up to 180 miles per hour. This has gone down just a little bit. You have to think when it goes over some of these islands, over some of that land, it does weaken just a little bit. And this is actually the path that they're continuing to watch. However, it's going into some warm water and also going into some areas with some very light wind shear. So it's in an environment where this could potentially build back up. But this actually set that record since 1966 of being the longest storm of having winds sustaining at 185 miles per hour for 33 hours. This storm should not be taken lightly as it's continuing to move off to the west-northwest, seeing those watches and warnings in place for Hurricane Irma. Let's take a look at this path because a lot of people in Florida, in the Carolinas, getting ready for what could be a potentially catastrophic storm moving into their area. So as we put this into motion, still likely going to remain a Category 5, but as we go throughout the day today or tomorrow, there is the potential, some of our models tracking this as to weaken down to a Category 4. Still a major hurricane as it does approach the southern tip of Florida, likely going to be getting close to making landfall, if not making landfall on the Florida area. As we get into your Sunday morning and even as we go into your Sunday evening, what we're going to continue to watch is what this does for Florida, the land on the effect of the hurricane. And you have to think Florida is still a 100-mile wide state. No matter where the eye of the storm goes, Florida's going to get likely the effects of this storm having a huge impact, and it's going to continue to make its way potentially off to the north, which could have an impact on the Carolinas. There's a little bit of a closer look at the potential landfall. And then in the Carolinas, with a new update that we've had this morning, good news as we're likely going to see this storm potentially weaken just a little bit before it does make landfall once again in the Carolinas, but winds up to 85 miles per hour, not 185 miles per hour, but 85 miles per hour as it does get closer to potentially making landfall. Rain also going to be another concern as some areas could be looking at up to 10 inches, if not more, of rain. Going to have an impact here as well in Knoxville, depending on where it does make landfall and which direction it goes. We could be looking all the way through next week, 1 to maybe even 3 inches of rain. These rain totals likely going to change again where we do see this make landfall. We're going to watch that throughout the next few days. But this morning we do have some patchy fog that we're watching out the door. Meteorologist Mike is going to have more on that. Good morning, Mike.
Yeah, good morning to you. And interesting side note, Hurricane Matthew moved its way right through the Bahamas last year, September 28th through October 10th. Caused major damage into the Bahamas and, of course, for the coastal areas of Florida and even into South and North Carolina. So all eyes on that, and that was just 1 year ago. You can see a little bit of that fog out there from our Sharps Ridge camera. Kind of a cool shot there this morning. Your morning at a glance, 52 degrees. Grab a light jacket. You definitely need that. It's going to hit you in the face when you walk outside in a good way. Not like the humidity. 55 degrees by 9 and by noon we're at 67. So the forecast high here today, 72, all day sunshine, really just a pleasant afternoon. If you're going to be outside all day long, don't forget, just because those temperatures are on the cooler side doesn't mean you can't get a nice little sunburn. Was outside all day yesterday myself and got a little bit of a little red there on my face from yesterday. 52, clear skies, open the windows and enjoy this nice little taste of fall. It's going to be with us for several more days. Perfect for high school football tomorrow night if you are heading off to the games. A high temperature of only 76. So once the sun sets for those games, it is going to cool off pretty quickly. As we dip down to 55 degrees on Saturday, setting up those tailgates, you'll need those light jackets once again, and then we warm to 78. But for all of us going out to the game on Saturday, remember that A, it's going to be sunny, so you need that sunscreen. B, even though the temperature is 78, it's going to feel more like 85-ish in that direct sunlight. So it is definitely going to be a toasty day. Staying in the mid-70s on Sunday, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, wherever Irma goes, we need to watch for the effects of that. It does look like we will see the effects of wind, and some of those high winds could be really affecting parts of the Smokies. We'll continue to watch that and keep you up to date. In the meantime, enjoy the morning, guys. It's now 5:52.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Tonight, The Voice winner Chris Blue kicks off his first concert at the Tennessee Theater.
This is the first of 3 sold-out shows this week. He was originally supposed to have just 1 performance, but the tickets were in such high demand, they added a second, then a third, and he is the first